You're listening to A Bit Later, a midlife stand-up podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ziegler, and I'm sitting down with comedians from across the globe to find out why they are pursuing stand-up comedy and what they are learning about themselves at this stage in their lives. Today, my guest is Jared Silverman. Jared started stand-up at the age of 35 and has been consistently performing for the past 3 years. I met Jared earlier this year on the Philadelphia comedy scene and have enjoyed working with him on mics and shows, and I had a lot of fun with this conversation. So let's just get right to it with Jared Silverman.
I guess, well, I have funny parents, and so they were always making me laugh as a kid and always kind of like roasting me. So that kind of gave me this somewhat thicker skin and made me a little bit more funny. And then over time, my friends would have these conversations and they would get into politics, and I wouldn't really want any part of that, but it meant that I would have to wait for them to stop talking about politics. So that's why I somehow went to this comical tactic where I would just say something ridiculous, my friends would laugh, it would stop the whole entire debate that they were having, conversation, and then I was able to um to just keep it going by what at the time I guess was riffing. I was just
Okay.
hanging out with my friends. We were just talking, and I was making them laugh, but I was distracting them from politics. But
Interesting. But with your
when I was
parents, how young were you when that started with your parents? When that like the roasting and the just desire to be funny or recognizing that they were funny? How young were you?
uh, as young as I can remember, just like remembering thoughts. Like I remember um, my mom. She was pregnant with my younger sister, and I was asking her how she was going to be able to take care of us if with more kids in the picture. And she said, and she explained that she's like an octopus and she can grow more arms. I knew that that was ridiculous. It made me laugh. I thought that was funny, but
Yeah.
it's just simple things like that. It's just meant to be silly. I learned to embrace more of the silly in comedy, because in comedy you can say funny things, you could be funny, but it I feel like that goes away at the end of the night. A silly person is silly on and off stage.
I get that. Yeah. And you were also telling me a story before, and it's on that other episode about an early memory. I think it maybe was your mom watching a stand-up, and you couldn't remember who the guy was, but he said like, "I'm the
Yeah,
pee-pee
it's
man."
still,
Is that
yeah,
what it was?
I looked that up.
Okay.
That was maybe a month or two ago. I looked that up and I still can't find who that comedian was, but I thought that was so funny. I just couldn't believe that there is this person, and I knew that at the time adults had to have jobs, and there was this adult on stage doing that bit, whatever it was, and I just couldn't believe that this man was being praised by an entire audience. They were laughing at him saying that. I thought that was so cool.
It is cool the first time you said. Do you think that's sort of why maybe well, I guess many people gravitate towards stand-up as being this kind of, for lack of a better word, like magical kind of art? It's just a person, it looks like it's just a person talking. And I think that's what kind of grabs people. I don't know. And obviously you said like the silliness factor, but
Well, I I think that there are different kinds of audience members. I think that so you have these people who are going out to laugh, but then then it's like you get some people who are going out to get offended. It doesn't seem genuine for their intent on going out to a comedy show. I can understand if their friends pulled them out there and now here they are going out to watch comedy. They're not really fans of comedy in the first place, so they're gonna sit there with a stern look on their face with their arms folded. But I think that there are some people that actually go out to a comedy show expecting to hear the same kind of humor across the board. But that's the beauty of comedy is it's not.
That's a really good way to put it. I didn't think about people going out to just get offended. Like, do you feel like that's a modern take because they want to film it, they want some sort of experience? I, I don't know. They want their own feelings validated about a topic and maybe don't want to hear any disagreements. I don't know.
But that's also why I like to stay away from politics as much as possible, just because I don't I don't want to I don't so when I say this, I don't take me like word for word here, but I don't I don't want to make comedy. I don't want to make jokes where I'm going to offend people. That like my intent isn't to offend people. I want to make everybody laugh, but I don't want to do it at a person's expense so much, but I want if I were to be doing it, I would try to make it tasteful so that we're just laughing with the thing rather than laughing at the thing. I feel like there's comedy that could be done angrily and like viciously and then you could tell in a person's jokes and demeanor and delivery if they're intending for the joke to be offensive or not, if that makes any sense. I think that so there are going to be some audience members too that that are going to be out there to hear their own type of comedy that they want to hear. I don't
Mhm.
know. I
No,
don't know.
that's like yeah, that's like Calm 101 of you're right. Of like we all kind of gravitate toward watching things we already believe or at a basic level like watching things that interest us. But you're on yeah, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think like fans of comedy, like actual fans of comedy, do want to hear different perspectives. But I agree with you, like either getting vicious or getting too political, as soon as it becomes a speech, I think
Yeah, yeah.
you've lost the crowd. Like even like I always reference Carlin. Like I'd love to get to like a Carlin level and make points and well, I hope I'm making some points. But like the idea of being able to be political and also kind of explain it, I don't know. But I guess we should circle back before I lose my train of thought to your initial kind of understanding of using comedy. You already had mentioned like staying away from politics. So is this like at an age when your high school friends were like picking teams of like what they believe in, or is this more of like getting older college, or when did that start when you realized you wanted to break or stay away from the politics, break the tension in that way?
I I hate debating with people. So so if I can do a joke about politics, it means that people are going to come up to me and they're going to want to like debate with me after, or they're going to now think that they can start talking like all philosophical and political, and I'm not there as a person. I
Mm.
maybe it's a sign of immaturity still, but I'll sit with that and I will not be a part of it. It's it's fun to take pieces of history. I like learning little things from history, like how oh So I actually just went to a wedding in Vermont over the weekend,
Okay.
and it was in Manchester, Vermont. Robert Lincoln's summer home, who is uh, Abe Lincoln's oldest son.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
While he was while he was alive, he witnessed the death of three presidents, one including his father.
Hmm.
So after that, he rejected all invites from the White House because he thought that he was bad luck. So I think that there's some kind of there's a joke here. There's
Oh,
got to be
yeah,
something.
there's something there. That's already funny. That's the premise. Yeah.
So that's the kind of politics that I would rather learn about and figure out. Maybe I can tie in something relevant now with something with that. But
Hmm.
that's the deepest I'll go with the politics.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think you need to be up there making a statement necessarily. I mean, if it's your thing, it's your thing. But I think a lot of the time also sometimes it's like low hanging fruit to just get validation if the room already believes everything that you believe. Whereas like I think the good thing the comics can do is like play with stuff of like of being contradictory in your material or like to back to the silliness. I mean, the Robert Lincoln thinking he's bad luck is just a silly. It's so silly. That's pretty funny. But like, I thought you were gonna go on a different say something different about Vermont. Like, I like it up in Vermont, but like, I think it's funny that there's this concentration of people. Everyone has like the archetype of like a what a Vermont, I guess, kind of like person is, like kind of crunchy, Ben and Jerry's kind of stuff. But like, you don't really see a lot. Everyone's so spread out. It's really more isolated than
Oh yeah.
anything outside of like Burlington. Um, but I would 100% go up there, live up there if I could, try to isolate from folks. But
The most political I'll get, and I'll say it right now, I I drove past a house that had a Canadian Lives Matter sign, and I'm still trying to figure out why their lives matter. I or why they matter more at this crucial time.
I wonder if that was a rebuttal. If that was like a BLM, is it BLM rebuttal, or are there Canadians in danger? Like that's a
I
pretty weird one.
have no idea.
You
Unless they're
could
gonna be the 51st state, and then that's what the fear. I don't know. I have no idea.
I I've driven by a flag recently a few times in this neighborhood where it's one of the flags it's like Blue Lives Matter, like the thin blue line or whatever, but they added the firefighters red and then I think there's green for the army. So this flag kind of then creates a classic like African flag. And I was gonna say I was trying to do something like I'm sure the people who own this probably hate that if I pointed that out to them, but I don't know really where to go from there.
That's funny.
Like if I want to get political, that's what I'll try. I like to be silly about it as well. Like it can't be. Sorry, you were gonna say something. I
No,
stepped on
no,
it.
that's good. No, I was just gonna say, yeah, that's the snake eating its tail. That's funny.
Um, have you watched Ridiculous yet? Are you a Louis fan?
I still have so now with comedy, it's hard for me to watch
Mm.
stand up because I'm just like picking it apart and trying to figure out how they did the thing that they did. It's hard for me to appreciate and watch genuine stand up. But
Yeah, you're right. You're trying to figure out how this works and where pacing. Yeah.
what what did you think about it? Did
I
you see
thought it
it?
was pretty good, but well, I didn't. I watched it in two sittings. I was kind of tired, plus I felt it was kind of slow. But I was only gonna. I was really just was curious about like he does his ending bit of he does a thing about like Jailbait magazine, and I've tried like I've come up with premises where it's kind of weird to watch comedy also when you're like there's only so many ideas that you can draw from. Like that concept and then like I don't know, I heard something about twins, not that Louis did. I'm getting off track here, but it's like I don't like watching it and seeing somebody that takes something like an idea that I had and I'm like they're obviously doing it 100 times better than I could. That's the
Yeah.
tough part too, because you don't want to
Yes.
now come out and do that and like repeat it. And oh, as a more concrete example, I was doing a joke, the like I'm so filtered and try to get the crowd to do how filtered are you? And like Louis like I'm gonna do this Catskills thing. Like and that is part of the joke. And he does it of like I'm so old and has the crowd like do how old are you? And then he just does like dark shit. So I'm like, well now I feel like I can't go out and do the filtered joke because Louis is doing this on a Netflix special and now I'm at an open mic and it looks like I'm trying that. Meanwhile, I was doing it like 2 weeks before I watched the special. That's my rant on that. But yeah.
It's a shame because everybody who holds the mic like this, that's the Shane Gillis.
Everybody's doing the Shane Gillis. Everybody does it, or even, and they go like, they'll take their hand off when they're making a point. I've noticed that too. I've noticed people holding it like, yeah, it's all pretty, you're stealing it from somewhere, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. Who would you say influences you if you had to like think back on?
Um, so my favorite thing is a good dirty one-liner.
Okay.
So influences we're talking like Dave Attell, Bob Saget,
Mm.
um, Jim Norton, Mitch Hedberg. But for the one-liner aspect, I love that. And Stephen Wright.
Yeah.
Then of course Louis C.K. and George Carlin, Dave Chappelle. But oh, and but Norm Macdonald. So the way I've developed myself as a comedian now it's like Dave Attell, Bob Saget, Norm Macdonald, because I like jokes that that you don't have to go on as long as they're going on because the punchline is right there. But you're saying all of this other stuff because that's like you're bringing out who you are in that ridiculous stuff. And then Bob Saget, um, I saw him in 2013 at
Okay.
Bonnaroo, and none of my friends wanted to stick around to wait on this long line in the sun to get the Bob Saget tickets at Bonnaroo, except for my friend and myself. So we waited on the line and it paid off because we got like third from the front at the Bob Saget show. And then we were laughing so hard that at least myself, my stomach hurt.
Mhm.
I was like in pain because I was laughing so hard. And I've never laughed that hard from a comedian. And then Bob Saget, we still to this day, I swear to God, could be maybe not us, but I swear it happened. He looks at us and he says, "This guy looks like he's having a good time." I thought he said it to me. He thought he said it to him. It could have been neither of us, but it was the fact that it was in our direction, and that's why we loved Bob Saget to that day. Oh God. And then he said something like so he has this song called Danny Tanner is Not Gay, sung to the song I Want It That Way by that boy
Um,
band.
Backstreet Boys?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
I think that's them.
Um
Yeah.
and so he says, so just as he says, um uh I wasn't gay, I just sat there in bed and Uncle Jesse touched me. And as he said that, uh John Stamos came out on stage. He so I got to
Wait,
see. Uncle
Oh,
Jesse. So I got to see Uncle Jesse and Danny Tanner on stage at the same time. Oh God, it was the
I
coolest
mean,
thing.
that's a pretty amazing sight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that little side thing,
You
but
don't have to apologize. You just got me thinking about John Stamos, but I'll put a pin in that. So Saget at Bonnaroo. So they came out and
yeah.
performed the song together, or did they do like a two-man bit,
It
like an
was
act?
he brought him out at the
Okay.
end of his set, just so that pretty much just so that people can freak out and take pictures,
Yeah.
and then that's it.
Okay. I
Yeah, it was just at the end.
you may have seen this like months ago when what's his face? Dave Coulier had cancer and
Oh no.
had to go through chemo. So this has been talked about on another podcast. That's how I learned about it. Like a Dan Soder podcast or something. So Dave Coulier was going through chemo treatment, and people shave their heads, et cetera, right? So and people are John Stamos put on a bald cap and like took a picture instead of actually you can't shave the moneymaker. It's kind of like it's such a dickhead move. Like I wish that got more attention in the news, but it's a pretty quick cycle. But that's he like if you look that up, he literally put a bald cap on and like actually put it on social media. Like I'm here for my buddy Dave or whatever. So,
It's it's like,
I mean, it's unsurprising. That's also what's sad about that. If you think about John Stamos a little bit, that's
well, Bob Saget had a story about how I guess they were all driving around in a limo together, the three of them, because they were really good friends always.
okay.
And then I guess they had a headshot printed out of John Stamos in the limo. And then I guess it had something to do with there was a hole cut out in the face in like the mouth for John Stamos, and he passed out in the limo, but I guess he woke up with the picture on his own so face or something like that. I
Oh,
don't know.
that's
It's
so
worth
great.
looking up, but
I'll look it up for sure.
it's all about his vanity and their antics,
That's
and
funny.
Bob Saget bringing the headshots.
Oh, Bob Saget. Bob Saget died when? 4 years ago? Was it or was it after? Was it in the 2020s? Wasn't before COVID, right?
I don't remember because he had a podcast and then the podcast ended abruptly and it upset me. I think it was
Right.
it might have been in the 2020s.
I think it was in the 2020s. I think he was doing the podcast and he would be on podcasts with a lot of people like in Hollywood, like Norman Lear and things like that. And I think that was all done by Zoom for COVID. So anyway, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. His roast is a classic. We could turn this episode into an entire Bob Saget episode, I guess. But
Oh, that's where I first started really appreciating Norm Macdonald
same,
because
dude.
of that
That's
roast.
so weird. It was just because, and I couldn't like repeat jokes from it, but like I remember watching it and I'm like, I can't explain why, but this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. And my girlfriend at the
Yeah.
time, she's like, I don't know why you're like, my laughter was like, contagious to her and stuff. She's like, I don't know what's funny about this. I'm like, but yeah, he's the big standout from that. Well, and Gilbert Godfrey, but yeah, but Norm, that roast for sure. And did you like start following him too after that, or?
I watched it when it first came out.
Yeah,
So that was God, I was so young.
that was like at the latest 2010, I want to say. I feel like that's a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a very long time ago. And
Yeah.
I think I was everybody that I was around, they weren't laughing at Norm Macdonald's part, except for a couple of people, including myself. And I just remember looking around just thinking like I, I feel so bad for Norm that they don't get it. But
Mhm.
the joke was also on me because that was the joke. It was so that hopefully people don't understand it.
Yeah. Didn't he talk about blueberries or something? Like he goes up and does like it's a random, it's not really even a roast of Bob Saget from what I remember. I don't know if he did much there. I can't remember, dude. I'm gonna have to.
It's something like you're for the birds. That was one of it.
Right. He was like oddly clean, I think. I want to, or like he was like so clean it was jarring, and it was kind of like tongue in cheek stuff. Yeah, yeah. For the listener, I'm sure you love this, but go go check out the Norm Macdonald Bob Saget roast. But I'm sorry, did you start a big fan of his going forward after that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, he was in the movie Dirty Work. So that
Right.
was also what got me into it because I saw that first. I didn't know he was a stand-up. Then I
Okay.
saw the roast of Bob Saget because I also just started getting into comedy, but I was more into Comedy Central. And so yeah, there were a whole bunch of little things happening. But yeah, that was
Mhm.
it. I I, I also didn't know Bob Saget was a stand-up until the roast of Bob Saget.
I didn't know that either. Yeah, I don't think I knew that until college, which would have been around that time for me. And Norm, I remember from Saturday Night Live. Now to think about it, like I would have known him from like Weekend Update and things like that as a kid. Um, but so when you go on your comedy journey, I was just like, I'll how did that really begin for you? Because you also started, you're 38, you started when you were 35. And I remember we talked about your open mic, the first open mic that you did, but like you had this silliness factor as a kid. Were you performing in any way before you were older? Before you started
Oh
stand up?
man. Yeah. This was this is my other life that I don't really talk about. My parents used to do community theater
Okay.
and so then my sister, I have two sisters. My youngest sister was too young. My other sister, I'm the oldest. So my middle sister was doing it. Then it became middle sister and then my mom and dad doing these plays. So then by peer pressure, it got me into it. But I was a lollipop guild in Wizard of Oz,
All right.
and I was an Oompa Loompa in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Those are two of my favorite movies, so two for two.
What was the other one? But it was all in preparation for my speaking role as the cat in uh Peter Peter Rabbit.
Peter
Yeah, it
Cottontail?
was
Is it
it was
Peter Rabbit?
Peter. I think it was Peter Rabbit.
Okay.
Yeah, because there was like uh Mr. McGregor, which was this he was this farmer who was played by my dad. And then his wife was played by my mom because at that point, God, I can't believe I'm talking about this. At that point, because
I mean, I've participated in community theater, so it's all right.
my parents, I guess they had good stage chemistry, on
Okay.
stage chemistry together. So that's why they were put together to be Mr. and Mrs. McGregor, and I was their cat. And so I was pretty much like taking care of the property because Peter Rabbit kept on going through the garden and eating up all the vegetables and really just bringing vegetables to a starving family. That's really, really what it's all about. But I had to stop it. And that's my speaking role.
Okay. That's
I didn't I didn't want to sing. And my mom was like, "But you have such a beautiful singing voice." I'm like, no, but I don't want to sing. I would just rather act. But I liked making people laugh.
mhm.
So that was yeah, I have a lot of comfort on stage sometimes, but I wish I can get better. I wish I had a little bit more comfort to to riff like some of those guys.
Yeah.
God, it's
I'm right there with you. I'm not comfortable with that yet at all.
oh my
Yeah.
God. The things that they can just pull out of nowhere, just like go off onto on a subject and pull out all those layers on
Yeah.
the spot. That's crazy. Or like someone says something and it pisses them off and then they go on a rant about that thing.
hmm
I know for a fact that in some regards sometimes it is practiced and then they have the the moxie to be able to pull it off later because they already have it somewhat practiced.
Right. Like if you're a crowd work comic, you kind of have some things loaded that you want to try out and you're just kind of like you're just probing questions and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, like I'm a little thrown by like the crowd work stuff now because it's so popular and there obviously is like a talent here for it, but it's also somewhat frowned upon because it's now seen as like hack because everyone's doing it. So like I'm not sure of like how much it's necessary or if it's more a skill you have to navigate hecklers in a tough crowd or something like that. Like maybe it should be reserved for that, but it's still I don't know, it's still a skill that's really difficult to acquire. I feel like I don't know.
Is it really is. But so you get there's a comic, Big J Okerson. He's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yep.
He's he's nothing but crowd work. And he just
hmm
sits on a stool and he talks to the crowd the whole entire time. And I know he has some bits, but he doesn't have a lot of them. It's like 10%, maybe 10% bit that he actually has. I think that it's great if you can pull that off, but the art of writing a joke is that's that's a thing to be proud of. I don't
I agree with you. Yeah, I think and the art form and the style is making that feel conversational. Being able to do this and build an audience's comfort with you is where everything comes together. So kind of when you're doing crowd work, like a Big J is just completely comfortable on stage. And that's drawing the crowd in. Like I do think he's got some material from what I just saw online. He may have actually had like a
yeah.
more a long, like a bigger set recently, but but I forget where I was going with that. Sorry. Like yeah, he's drawing you in with the questions. I've actually seen him once at the stand live. I don't think I'd be able to sit through an entire show of comedians doing crowd work.
Yeah, that would be nauseating. I couldn't do that.
Yeah. At Mike's, at least, it's not too bad because we usually don't have actual audience members. I mean, it's kind of hard to do crowd work with comics.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
That that should more like come naturally.
I forgot what I was going to say.
You've
You
seen,
brought up a very good point, but yeah, it is important to at least have the mix of being able to do crowd work.
Mhm.
I think that that is a skill that comics should have.
Yeah, it's a completely necessary skill. But how do you feel like you're able to like? Where do you see yourself practicing crowd work? How do you think that can work for you?
Um, so far, so I where I started stand up was upstate New York in the Catskills, um, at that open mic. Whenever I go back to that open mic, that's actually where I try stuff because they don't have a lot of comics out there. And when they actually do get open mics, they think it's the greatest thing because it's all just musicians. So that's the place where I have tried crowd work,
Oh, great.
and really those music open mics is the best place to do it because like unfortunately you're going to get a lot of obnoxious people who are now super drunk because they're listening to music and they only wanted to listen to music all night, and so now they get a comic and they're really excited because they think that they can heckle you because they think that that's a thing you're supposed to do at comedy shows, which is crazy.
Hmm.
So so yeah, if you try crowd work at an open mic music a music open mic or a general open mic, then it'll have a good payoff, or it's a good way to try it, at least start. I'm terrified to try it in front of the people at a comedy club, but I'll get there eventually. It's
It's tough. Yeah. I like when I get like a good response and like someone is like verbally pleased with what I'm saying, and it's not just a laugh, and it's more than like that's funny. But I can interact with that. I think that the scary part is the
oh God.
negative,
Yeah.
combating that. Um, and I luckily haven't had too much of it. I don't know if I've really had any of it. I think were we talking about this like silence as opposed to people talking?
Hmm.
Like you'd prefer the silence, right? Like at
I've
least
been
they were paying
trying.
attention.
Yeah. Yeah, silence is a lot. It You don't realize how much longer a laugh can go on sometimes if you wait for them to finish laughing. Sometimes you don't realize like how funny your own jokes are if you give them time to breathe.
That's great advice because I just ran into that at a show and I could hear it on the recording. Like I just kept going with the material and people were still laughing. I was like, God damn it. I could have
Hmm.
like dragged that out. Like it really would have worked. And that was the one like piece of advice I got. It's like you're just running through your material. Um, but yeah, that you're absolutely right about that. Have you experienced that a lot?
Oh God, yeah. And I'm just gonna abbreviate his name because that's all. Lakshmi. Do you know Lakshmi, the comedian?
Yeah, I've seen him a couple of times. Yeah, yeah.
So he like basks in the silence because his words are so specific, and he has a very good economy of words that he says everything that he does slowly, and there's like a lot of time between the next thing that he says, and and it and it's almost as if having that timing and like pause between your words, it almost as if it gives off more confidence. That's what I noticed from him.
Yeah, it does. It does because I think when you start rushing, usually people are, if you're doing well, it's just kind of like, okay, people may have missed the words in a joke that you're starting again, but they're already kind of on your side. If you're bombing, people see it's automatic that you're going to rush. You're not going to just sit there and try and do your act the way you normally would. So yeah, you're right. Being comfortable with the silence creates a confidence, an air of confidence to the audience. So I get that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Ron White, he always talks about slow down. He always says slow down.
Yeah. Well, even going back to the tour, the whatever that was, the redneck thing that he did with Jeff Foxworthy a long
Yeah,
time
yeah.
ago. He was
Hmm.
my favorite on that. Um,
What was it called?
I don't know.
Blue
Just like
collar blue collar
blue collar.
comedy. Yeah.
Yeah. The competition for the kings of comedy. So, but he paused a lot on that. And a lot of it was like part of, I mean, reading things about comedy now, like part of his act was the way he held his cigar or had a drink, stuff like that. Like it was all purposeful in what he was doing and what he was doing during those silences as well.
Have you ever gone up there with a drink?
Um, well, I don't really drink. So I'll go up there, I fuck around and I say I'm having a non-alcohol, like I'll say whatever non-alcoholic beer I'm having and just say like, so you guys know I used to be a good time. So it's like it's an easy joke. When I first did this a few years ago to like answer your question, I would be drinking when I did it, and I didn't like what was happening. In hindsight, like it was not good.
Yeah, I don't like to drink before my set.
Yeah, you
Um,
didn't drink at that show. I know. Yeah,
no.
yeah.
I was actually talking about like drinking, just drinking. So I tried every time I try to go up there and be cool and drink a drink,
Hmm.
like oh, I'm gonna take a sip while they're laughing. It never works. And I'm not I'm not a good sipper. I'm not like suave and cool
No,
at sipping.
I get that. Sorry, yeah, that was an easier question to answer. Yeah, because sometimes I've done that. I'll bring my drink up, and then it's even sadder because you don't get to sip it at all because there's no,
No.
it's just a drink sitting on the stool. It sucks. So I've stopped because yeah, it's that throws me a little bit too. Sometimes I'll just make sure I drink some water before I go up there. I've kind of stopped bringing a cup, and depending on the mic, sometimes I'll have it in my notebook, and try not to do that either. But yeah, I think about the same thing. It's like you want to take that break and just do it's what
Just to
everybody else
feel
does.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would
Like,
feel
oh,
cool.
this is my sip break while they're laughing because they're gonna laugh so long when I take this sip. And then they're done laughing and I go, oh shit, I gotta put this down.
Oh man, I mean, we were kind of texting about this, and but I don't know if you want to be specific or if it is this specific mic. What's the worst experience you've had doing stand up so far?
Um, it was when I was first starting and it was it was at Crab House. It was on the 4th of July, 20 2023.
Wait, the crafty crab?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like first sort of starting and my material isn't it wasn't as good. It was all perverted and dick jokes
Hmm.
and the audience at Crafty Crab they're not having that. They want no part of that stuff. And so this lady in the front was she was eating crab legs with her hands and she was like eating and each time I would say a joke she would go mm-mm mm-mm and then she was like still eating and then and then I forgot what one of my jokes oh it was a joke about it was like a joke about having sex with a goat and so then this lady she she turned on the light on her phone and she started shining the light at me. She was just an audience member shining the light at me. So for everybody listening who doesn't know what this means is so let's say you have a 5 minute set, they're going to shine the light at you on your fourth minute knowing that, oh, I have a minute left. And then they just keep on shining it at you, which means get off the stage. And so this woman was shining her light to have you get off the stage. Oh God, it hurt. It hurts so much.
I'm sure.
I think about it so many times. And then the other one that was on par was, so now it was at least like a year and a half in, and I thought I was really cool, and I thought that I could just go into what was it? Cookies. Speakeasy on
Mm.
Friday. I thought, so this is a mic where they're like a little bit more experienced, and it's like a different vibe of maturity of a comic. And so I had a set that was that I tried once, and it, it was like poorly written but super perverted, and it was like way too much shock factor, and there was like way too much poop. I talked about poop too much. And the reason why I say that, so I finished with the set, and the host at the time says like, give it up for Jared Silverman. Talk about a shitty set. And it they they laughed so hard. It was like that was like the first time they laughed in 5 minutes. And it hurts so much.
Oh. Well, what were the best ones? I could share bad ones, but my own. But
I
what?
don't I don't even remember if there were any good ones in my entire career, just because the bad ones weigh so heavily.
You do think about the bad ones a lot more. You just like you want to keep going because of the good ones, but the bad ones just sit with you. And even like when I wasn't even really trying this, I years ago I went up at Ortlieb's and I'm remembering this like I didn't even take my jacket off. I looked weird. I was up there like in a pea coat and like I was just talking about my girlfriend that I had broken up with at the time and like how
Oh
I had
no.
been like a stepdad to her stepdaughter. But I was trying to make it fun. And the next guy, it was just sad material. Anytime I go up with anything too sad, I bomb. I mean, that should be like if you can't, it shouldn't just be a sad premise. And then the next guy that came up, I don't remember who he was. I got like kind of hazy at that point. He was just like, "Boy, you guys are gonna love me." I was like, God, I was like, I have to leave. I have to leave. This is terrible. Uh, the Crafty Crab does not play. I was just there this past Thursday night. Had a good time. But as soon as you go the porn route with them, you kind of lose them a little bit.
Yeah,
You have
I
to do.
didn't like
But
that.
Tommy Two Smooth was up there headlining, and he was talking about literally sucking butt was his whole thing. Instead of like just saying eating ass, he kept saying sucking butt. It was really funny. But there were like four women, little older women that started. I think they knew him. They were standing up, laughing with their phones, and
Wow.
they were like, "Tommy, too much, too much."
Oh, they were lighting him?
They were lighting him, but like they knew what the light meant, but they were also still like laughing a lot. It was just like he was going crazy because he also started. So he's doing this butt sucking thing, and then he's talking to this woman who had just come in. She was attractive, and she was there with her daughter, and he's like saying, "I'm gonna be your new daddy. I'm gonna be sucking butt at your house," that kind of stuff. So it's just like went off the rails. So I don't think you were also if you went up first at that mic, that's a tough one to
Oh
like.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one because the energy is really high. I think I've gone up. I went up first this time because there weren't many of us there, so I was surprised at how well it went. I maybe went up third the first time, but it's a kind of room where you like you can get a bunch of laughs and then it'll go silent on another joke. Like you're not riding out. You can't rest on your laurels there because like I feel like
Yeah.
I started really strong and it was like mid when I ended. But
Yeah.
it's nice that there's an
Yeah.
audience there. That's that's a positive though. Yeah.
So one of the things that's nice about an audience like that is that they're very what's the word here?
Honest.
Yeah, they're honest. Yeah, they're honest. They're an honest crowd. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree
Yeah,
with you.
because
Yeah.
yeah, they're not gonna pity laugh you. They're
No,
only going to laugh if they find it funny.
exactly.
S-
Yeah.
So you know when the not funny parts are.
Hmm. That was tough. Wait, like thinking about recently too, I was in a room where people were like ready for it. They were ready for comedy. It's not like we were springing it on them, but I feel like it was a bit of like an easy target for laughs. And luckily it went well. But I was talking to my friend after, and do you know Steve Rinaldi?
Yes.
Okay, so he was like headlining that show, and I've known him for a very long time. And he was saying like the first 4 years of comedy, he and he said this is what he heard from another comic. Um, First 4 years of comedy, you kind of like, this is me, this is my act, this is what I'm saying. You kind of like you really stick to the script, like that comfortability is not there, and like 5 to 10, whatever it is, you get more comfortable on stage. Maybe that's where like the crowd work stuff comes in. And then after like 10, I mean, I know the 10-year thing is like kind of cliche, but like let's say years like 12 and up, you're kind of like, this is second nature to me. This is what I do now. So it's like, of course, we're running in over jokes and things like that. We're kind of in this like scripting phase where we're always rehearsing in a way, or everything kind of feels rehearsed, and that's what we want it to be. So getting these different crowds, honest crowds, whatever it may be, I guess is important in this phase. Um, but that's what I've heard recently.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that I because there are there are jokes that I'm doing now that to me feels so rehearsed when I say them that I don't even want to do them anymore. And to the point where now I'm deconstructing the joke so that I learn how to say it in a new way so that it feels like it's natural for everybody.
Yes, I know exactly what you're saying. Yes, you get tired of it, of hearing yourself saying it the same way over and over. But how do you like? What is like your process in doing that? Because are you listening back to say like, oh, I have this delivery now? Um,
Um, so it's really coming now to the point where I've written so many one-liners that that are about so many different things, and now I'm writing other jokes that are about that are about subjects that can now tie in all of these one-liners that I've written.
okay.
So now I'm writing jokes that are built with one-liners, and I'm now it makes it so that like I had all these one-liners, I wouldn't know where to say them. I would just get up there, I would use it as an opener, and then I would get into my material, but it wouldn't have a place. But
Mhm.
now I'm just writing jokes and just collecting all of these things that I've written to the point where I also now have just lines that I can say, and as I say stuff, now those one-liners become like what where the hell did that just come from? That's so now they actually can tie into scenarios depending on what's going on, like talking about the comic that went up before me, or just talking about some random thing that someone brought up, like, oh my God, I have a 9/11 joke for that. That's great. Or just some kind of
Mhm.
random thing. It's all now starting to I'm seeing where the bricks are supposed to lie.
Yeah, I like that process because with one-liners, it's really tough to do that. So, and you've kind of started with the most difficult part right? You really like have your punchline and then you're building your story around it. It's not,
Hmm.
you're not starting with a story of something that happened to you. You already have boiled it down to a one-liner. So, yeah, in a way, it's like working backward. I don't know. You can't really call it anything. I think everybody just got their own process. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, it's like some songs start with the tune,
Right.
and then they figure out the words. So it's not even a song is created in one way.
Hmm. If you're not watching comics, right? You're not watching a lot of stand up because we're around it a bunch. What are you doing? Are you reading about comedy and techniques? Are you picking it up naturally from like watching other micers or watching Showcase Comedy Live? Like, how is this all working in your head? Like, what are you studying?
Uh, like yesterday, I was for hours I was watching reels on of Steve Martin doing stand up. And then talking about stand up, and then I like listening to podcasts of all these guys talking about stand up. I know that you can read books. Someone they made sure to say like, no, you got to read the books, but like that's great, but there's hundreds of hours of recorded material of people talking about stand up on podcasts that
Mhm.
you're not really going to get. You're going to get at a book. A book is going to be edited and perfect, and a podcast could potentially be ruining someone's career because they're saying too many things that they shouldn't be saying. So you're going to get the raw nitty gritty from a podcast. A book is great too. Um, there's the I'll actually show you. There's the Comedy Bible by Judy Carter. I've been
Oh,
recommended this book by many people, and so I finally got it. It has it has really great pieces of information, like organizing your set list. I have this page bookmarked specifically. Um, it just talks about like how you're not just going to get right into talking about you're not going to just like try to hook up with your date the minute you see them. You got to kind of woo them a little bit. So you should probably
hmm.
save the sex stuff for later. And then it says like start your set with a special challenge or a current issue, and then something in the childhood, and then your job, and then lastly love and relationship. So it's just little things like that telling you
Okay.
how to like come up with premises. I I should probably read more of the pages, but that's a great resource that I go into every now and then just so that I can have something to flip through and read.
That's
Um,
pretty cool.
but then I do watch other stand-ups. Um, I'm picking apart what they're doing. I want to get his name right. Let me just look up his name real quick.
I don't read any books about stand up either, I should say. I'm more of the go the podcast route, and I feel like the Reddit stand up page actually helps to read people's experiences currently too, and people like seeking advice, giving advice. That seems to be helpful from time to time. So who's this guy that we're looking for?
His name is Mike Nadasic.
Oh yeah,
Um, he's just an example of someone who I've seen, and I've just always thought that he was hilarious. He has like just a hilarious presence.
he does. I like his whole style, and I mean, I don't know if he would hate this comparison, but I immediately would compare him to like a Shane Gillis in like the topics, the way he's just like his whole persona. Mike's a pretty seems like a nice guy too. I've talked to him like briefly at
Well,
Mike's and stuff. Yeah, but he's great. I
yeah.
agree. Yeah.
And the reason why I'm also mentioning his name is because I've also told him about how great I thought his stuff is because I've just seen him go into a crowd of people at a bar like McSorley's where you can try some stuff out. So I've seen him go in there on an idea and a dream and like parts of it parts of it you could see where the parts don't work, but then you could see how he could bail himself out. And
Yes.
that's and
Yeah.
that's what's so impressive. It's the watching a comic bail out of a thing that or stay alive that just like that's cool to watch. That's
Hmm.
the aggressive street fighting part of the comedy that I've now liked as an open micer.
Yeah, he is a favorite to watch. And I've never seen him like lose a crowd completely.
No,
Like he always
no,
turns it around. Like if people
no.
tighten up or whatever, like they don't know what to expect, everybody's laughing by the end of his set. Yeah, he's always good to see. But the McSorley stuff is crazy. For the listener, for the dozen of you out there, like so we would go to this bar,
Hmm.
McSorley's in Havertown, Pennsylvania. Is that where it
I think
was?
so.
So like adjacent to the main line, which is a very wealthy area around the
Ardmore.
Philadelphia suburbs. Yeah, like Ardmore, Havertown. But anyway, we'd basically be performing in the middle of this bar for often the regulars at the bar. So that was like there's no stage. I love the fact that one week I heard one of the guys who I recognized, I don't think he really liked me at all, but he would be there every week and he was repeating. He was ahead of Perry. He like knew all of Perry's punchlines already. Like he was just like Shabuzi, just kind of like. So you get that experience too, which is nice. Um, but I don't want to lose everyone here. So yeah, Mike's style is important, I think, for a lot of people to see at Mike's. I think sometimes at Mike's it's also nice to watch people evolve over like the weeks and months that you go. Um, consistently. I don't have a further point
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
No, yeah, 100%. Yeah. You get to see the you get to see the whole spectrum of comedians at an open mic. It's
Mhm.
great. It's from very, very beginning to like, oh, that guy's getting into his groove. And then there's the guy when he has an off night, like, oh, he's not always like that.
One of the things that I noticed that I had written down as a question for you was I like what you're doing online when you just kind of like you put like a very strange video, but probably like a viral video up and you cut in and it's just like get off your phone. Just go be with your family. It's really funny. So I like that as a bit. I mean, this will be like a more philosophical question. Like, where do you see us going as a society? And kind of like how how can comedy how important is comedy in this current situation that we're all in?
Oh God. Comedy is really all we have for these situations. Um, I think that there's always going to be the troll. Hopefully, hopefully my role in this society will throughout all the phases, I'll just consistently be the troll for the trend at the time. I hope that I hope that we're not I hope that AI is not going to get into comedy. I hope that
Yeah.
people still appreciate the human aspect of things. Um, like during the pandemic, everybody was handling everything else their own way, but they were also freaking out at the same time in some ways. On Facebook, there was this parent group for the different schools, and somehow I got onto this parent group. So so they were all freaking out about the schedule on how things were going. And so I started pretending that I was a parent with twins named my twins were named Emily and Sarah. And they did things like they had clarinet lessons, and they had dance, and they were in elementary school, and so then they were always involved with like something like the thing of the day, like pajama day. So then I started talking about like how how pajama day was perfect because then Emily can wear her leotard underneath her pajamas because she has dance later. And so I would take screenshots of these things, and then that was giving people hope during the pandemic. That was like their one piece of entertainment during all of this chaos going on. And then they started catching on, the parents started catching on that I wasn't a parent, and I got removed. I got removed from the group, and that brought sadness to so many people that looked forward to me trolling all of these parents. So I don't know where we're going, but we need laughter. We need to like continue to comedy is really one of the most important arts that we have left. There's there's music, and that gets like destroyed, and they keep on making different genres, but then you have something like Kill Tony, and and people are bashing Kill Tony, saying saying like the comedians that he has on the show, and that he always has these disabled comedians also, they bash that. But some of those disabled comedians are more funny than I'll ever be, and then some other people could ever be. It's just a matter of talent. And that is a thing that you can't fake. And that's the beauty of comedy. It's the joke writer and deliverer. There's only one kind of
Yeah.
person that can do it. It doesn't matter if you're in a wheelchair, or if you can't really speak very well, because that's been proven too, because there's not Andrew Belial. Well, yeah, Andrew Belial. He's a comedian with mental disabilities, and then I can't think of the comedian. He's the one who speaks on the
The Stephen Hawking thing. What is
yes,
that called? Sorry, that's
I
probably the wrong way to phrase
it
it.
is, but but he yeah, he's a brilliant comedian, and
Yeah.
he's able to make all of that stuff come out to the point where also no mere mortal can think of anything like that on the spot. These are some comedians. I don't know. I feel like a comedian has a different type of power sometimes with their power of the words and the ability to make a person laugh because of something that you said that's causing that like mental reaction that's like breaking their mind. Not anybody, you can't just be a regular person to break someone's brain like that.
Yeah. Dude, I love that. I love everything you just said. Got me
It's
thinking like the whatever that machine is, like just goes back even to the writing of how your words need to come together. That wouldn't work. He's not delivering. He's put these words together in a specific pattern that is making you laugh, and like a robot is reading it to you. It's not a person with a specific cadence, but the way
Mhm.
he's put those words together is the magic of it. Um, yeah, it's so true. Um, and to the point of Kill Tony, I'm not like a big fan, but I mean, I'd certainly go on the show if I had the opportunity to. So
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of have to. Um, so I get that, like That was great. It feels weird to ask you the last question here. But what would your younger self think about your decision to pursue stand-up comedy? What would they say now?
I would I think I would be really impressed with myself for doing it. I don't think young Jerry would have any negative thoughts. I think that I would want to see it, and then maybe I would watch me do certain jokes that wouldn't get laughs, and then maybe I would be disappointed that I did that, and I wouldn't understand until later why I did that joke. That's the
That is probably what your younger self would feel. That's great. That's really great. Um, is there anything you'd want to add? Anything you have coming up that you want to share?
um today's the 21st. I have Comedy Cabaret. That's coming up this Friday, the 24th, July 24th. And then I'm doing I've been I've been co-hosting with Jay Harris, who's been running a show in um Elkins Park. It's a really cool outdoor bonfire,
Oh, that's great.
and it's just comedians and good vibes, and hanging out by the fire. And that'll be August 8th. No, yeah,
Great.
August 8th on Saturday. So I look forward to that.
Awesome. Yeah, this will be out before that. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate this. This was really fun. Um,
Yeah, this was awesome.